Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mechanical here, and today I'm showing you 7 games that have a cult following, meaning that these are games that are not that well known or didn't sell that well, but still made somewhat of an impact and got a very loyal fan base and are still talked about to this day. But enough rambling, let's get started. Starting off the list is Intelligent Cube, a game you may or may not have heard of. For those of you that didn't, Intelligent Cube is a puzzle game with, yeah, you guessed it, cubes. You play as a character on a platform where cubes are rolling in your direction, and the goal of the game is to make the cubes fall down. Be careful though, as the cubes have different colors and different functions. For example, the black ones are not allowed to fall. This bizarre puzzle game was a massive hit in Japan with 750,000 copies sold at the end of 1997. In the other parts of the world it didn't make that much of an impact at the time, as it sold mediocre in the US and Europe. It did tingle puzzle fans for its unique gameplay and became a cult classic between puzzle game fans. Nowadays it's a pretty rare game selling for a hefty price. This game even made it on the PlayStation Classic, making it more accessible for people not willing to pay the price for an actual copy. I could talk about these games for hours, and yes, I said these, because this is the first of 2 games called Tombi or Tomba in the US, developed by Whoopee Camp, which sadly closed after the second game. If I would have to stick a genre on this game, I would say a platformer with RPG elements, because you are completing quests, events called in this game, and collect a lot of stuff along the way that you can use and combine in different events. The story is nothing groundbreaking, as Tombi wants to find his grandfather's bracelets while the land has been taken over by the evil pigs. It doesn't sound that exciting if you hear it like that, but the game has a certain charm and atmosphere over itself that really stayed in my head for all these years. It didn't sell that well, but still just enough to make a sequel. Doesn't mean that it didn't create a following, as there are die-hard Tombi fans still praising the game to this day, me included. Because of its poor sales, these 2 games are not that common, and you guessed it, they go for a lot of money. Still, this game is worth the price.
Tomba loves you. And by golly, America loves Tomba.
PlayStation.
Third entry is the stylized fighting game Guilty Gear. How this game got its cult status is because it stood out among the fighting games of that time, and that is mainly because of its 2D animated style. The characters look like they jumped straight out of an anime, and the original PlayStation wasn't known for its 2D graphics. Besides the graphics, it was very fast-paced, and combining that with its animation, you got a big Street Fighter contender. The story is nothing groundbreaking. You play as one of 10 characters in a fighting tournament trying to prevent the resurrection of the leader of the Gears, who are bioorganic weapons. This plot sound familiar?
You have been chosen to defend the realm of Earth in a tournament called Mortal Kombat.
LSD Dream Emulator is my 4th pick and is more an experience than a game. You warp to different worlds without any backstory or goal, just explore. Every world is different and just random. There is nothing specific to do in any of these worlds, just try them out. Made by Asmic Ace Entertainment. Their goal was to make this not a game, but contemporary art on the PlayStation. It got a limited release in Japan, and because of that it didn't get that popular at the time. But game reviewers and let's players started to be aware of it, and that's when it began to gain some popularity, but still not enough to get mainstream attention. That didn't stop fans talking about it, and someone even made a remake in Unity in 2014. This game still stands as one of the most experimental games in history. That's why it became a cult classic. Number 5 is VIP Ribbon, a game that started as an advertisement for a Mercedes car. This is a rhythm game, but not just any rhythm game. The strongest point of this game is that you can play the levels to any music, even your own, as long as it's on CD of course. The game generates a level while the music is playing. That makes the replay value almost infinite. Yes, it looks kinda basic with its vector-based graphics, but that was the only way to fit it in the PlayStation's memory. Unfortunately, the primitive graphics was the biggest reason why the game didn't sell well, and the creators decided to not release the game in the US. It was only released many years later digitally for North American players. Vagrant Story is an action RPG by Square Enix, Squaresoft at that time. It came out near the end of the life cycle of the PlayStation 1 in the year 2000 and has been re-released digitally for the PlayStation 3, PSP and PlayStation Vita. It sold pretty good but was overshadowed by bigger titles such as Final Fantasy IX and Chrono Cross. This was a unique RPG for the fact that it didn't have character interactions or shops. Instead, it focused on weapon customization and occasionally puzzle sections. In the story you are playing Ashley Riot and you get framed for a murder of a duke. The game takes place 1 week before those events. You encounter all sorts of beasts and monsters, but its strength lies in the crafting system. The game reviews for this game went through the roof. Some even gave it a perfect score. The game reached the peak in popularity in the year 2007 when the PlayStation 3 came out. Fans were beginning to ask questions about a possible remake for the new generation. The last game on this list is Moon Remix RPG Adventure. Yes, that is the actual title of the game. Never heard of it? Neither did I before I did research for this video. It was only released in Japan in 1997 for the PlayStation and is basically a parody of the role-playing game genre. You're a boy who's playing an RPG game called Moon in his bedroom. After playing it, he goes to sleep and the game turns on again in the night and sucks him into the TV. Inside this world called Love the Guard, time really progresses like in real life and certain quests can only be completed within a certain time. It's fairly unknown in the western parts due to the fact that it's only in Japanese. There have been attempts to create an unofficial English version, but none were completed. It's still not released in the western regions to this day, but a Nintendo Switch version has been announced, so we will finally get to play it. And with that, I'm going to leave you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by leaving a like, sharing this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mechanical, thank you for watching, till next time.